sat down to write about my coach, 3 words jumped into my head. The first one was never ending. This is truly an all year round guide. Whether it's in season or not, I can guarantee you that he will be getting ads out about the next clinic in this laptop that's supposed to be used for work. After a long, hard day's work, he will most definitely be checking on his players to make sure that their skills are on point, and also making sure that the camp he got them into, they're getting there on time. The next word that jumped to my head was dedicated. He is dedicated to an extent that even though he hasn't coached rec league in about 5 years, and it's no longer his responsibility, he's making it a priority to make sure that half the city knows about rec league is starting up. Most importantly, his generosity. I personally have benefited from his attribute. He is the reason that I'm playing lacrosse for Decatur High School, something I've looked forward to my entire 10 years living in the city of Decatur. A couple of years ago, my family had a financial setback and was threatening to leave the city. Out of the kindness of his heart, he took me in as one of his own and became not only a mentor, but also a coach and a father figure to me. These 3 things has affected me in a way that lacrosse has given me a role model and someone that I can look up to. It has shaped me into a person who is hardworking and appreciative to the things that I've been fortunate to experience. I just want to say thank you from not only me, but the school and the other city for what you've done.
I'd like to just tell a little bit about the man D'Angelo just described. He saw me, a chubby, uncoordinated kid, playing rec basketball at a local rec center to stay out of trouble. He stopped me after a game and told me and my mom that I should play lacrosse. Not knowing at all what lacrosse was or how it was played, my mom signed me up. I was nervous to play a new sport, but Coach Don assured me that I would have fun. I'll admit, at first, I was terrible at lacrosse. As a defenseman, I was slow, got a lot of penalties. Coach Don coached me up. In one game, he put me at attack. I scored 2 goals, and so we decided that from now on I would play attack. Last year, as a sophomore, I scored 60 goals. That's all. That's all thanks to Coach Don. Lacrosse has given me lots of connections. Helped me meet a lot of people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. I'd like to thank Don for introducing lacrosse into my life, and thank him for, being a role model in my life. Please help me in applauding Coach Don Rigger, the man who's meant so much to myself, D'Angelo, and all the other players he's touched.
That's a tough act to follow right there. But thank you fellas. It means a lot to me to hear that from you guys. I'm going to talk into the mic because my parents are here all the way from Baltimore, and they want to get to hear my So we heard a lot tonight about what lacrosse means to people, and obviously it means a lot to me, and I'm very honored, and I thank the committee for thinking of me. It's certainly not because I was a great player, but I think probably has something to do with coaching, and not just coaching, but what we've done in Decatur. But I'm going to back up a little bit and just tell you one thing. Lacrosse means everything to me. When I moved here in 1984, I didn't know anybody, and I was kind of lost. And I was in a bar one night, and I met a guy, and we started talking. He was a lacrosse guy, and I'm like, oh, you mean there's lacrosse here? I was out of college. And he said, yeah. So I joined the Atlanta Lacrosse Club, and I made friends with a guy named Paul Kinane. Paul's from up north like me, and he didn't know anybody here either, except he had a fiance who he met in college, who went to Druid Hills High School. And so I started, hanging around with Paul. And one day, we were in his apartment, and this fellow soccer player of his fiance came in, and that's Mary Stubbs, who's now Mary Stubbs Rigger, and completely changed my life. So I owe everything to lacrosse. So now the Decatur story. So Decatur, Decatur seems like a big place. It's in the news a lot, and there's a lot of people have addresses that are Decatur. But Decatur itself is very small. It's 4 square miles, 20,000 people. It's kind of like Mayberry in the 2000s. But it is a small town, and 10 years ago, if you went to Decatur, there was no lacrosse stick in Decatur. Maybe one hanging in my garage, but that was it. And so we really have, I say we because there's a lot of people that have been involved in that, but we have grown something there that's really, really kind of neat, and a source of pride for our town. A lot of the parents of our players, current and former players, are here. Some of our players, obviously Nick and D'Angelo and some others, current players and former players are here, and I appreciate them being here tonight. One of the things that we tried to do from the beginning in Decatur was to make lacrosse something for everybody. Our town has a broad range of people in terms of race as well as socioeconomic status, and so we wanted it to be accessible to everybody. U.S. Lacrosse was a huge asset in that they gave us a New Start grant for both the rec program, which we started in 2002, and then for the high school, which we started in 2005. So we owe a lot to U.S. Lacrosse. That gave us the opportunity to give kids equipment or loan equipment. I mean, it's a huge thing when you think about $200 minimum, right, to get a kid outfitted. Well, for a lot of parents in our town, that's a game stopper right there. So we really appreciate that. I also appreciate the courage of the kids, because it's not easy to play a white sport when you're an African American kid. And I know that Nick and D'Angelo and the other guys have had to put up with some stuff, and they stayed the course. It's a great game, and they love the game, and that's really what attracted them in the beginning, and that was what keeps them there. And so I appreciate all of you helping us continue to grow the game. The other thing that's important for us is that as you grow, we've been able to take care of folks that are underprivileged through the grants from U.S. Lacrosse and whatnot. But when these kids want to keep playing, and so they start to think about college. They're in high school, they're thinking about college, and they want to play lacrosse in college. And there's a problem in my mind, and I think lacrosse will eventually outgrow it. But right now, in order to get seen and be recruited for college, it costs money, because you have to go to these showcases, and you got to go to these camps, and these things are expensive. And we've greatly benefited from Open Door Lacrosse, which Mike Buckus is the chairman of that, and we've heard from Mike tonight, great guy. And he runs that under the umbrella of the chapter here. But Mike needs money. I mean, I hit him up all the time for my guys, and I know Chris Kelly hits him up for the guys that we are. There's a lot of underprivileged kids in Atlanta that are playing. So I hope that, when you're thinking about where to make your charitable donations, that you think about Open Door. I can tell you firsthand that we've got kids in college now who are there only because of Open Door. Open Door kid ends up he goes to Dixie 150. If you make the all-star team at Dixie 150, you get to go to Champ Camp. You go to Champ Camp, Limestone College sees you, and now you're there. This is a kid who wouldn't have gone to college probably if it weren't for this opportunity. So please think about the Open Door. I know I'm the last thing between you guys and Downton Abbey. So, although I could go on and on, I'm going to go ahead and wind it up. I want to say a special thanks to my wife. She's a soccer person, for gosh sake. So, to have put up with lacrosse, this, that, and the other thing her whole married life had to get old. But she's been a tremendous supporter of me, and also of our program, our kids. All of our kids played, and so I thank her. I thank my parents who drove me to lacrosse when I was a little kid and supported me in high school and gave me the opportunity to go to Washington League where I played lacrosse, and now support my son White, who's up at Ursinus College in Philadelphia. We can't ever go see him play, and they go to every game, and that means the world to us. I want to thank Decatur Recreation, which is now called Decatur Active Living. They've gotten a little hoity-toity there, but you know, they could have very easily said no when we asked them to start the program, and they did not do that. I also want to thank the city schools of Decatur, who really easily could have said no. They didn't have enough field space for the teams that they had in the spring, but Carter Wilson, the athletic director there, he said yes, and that was a great moment for us. And so, in closing, I want to say thank all of you for being here. And lacrosse is a wonderful game, and I hope tonight you go out with an even greater appreciation of what it can mean to some of the kids in our community. Thank you very much.